What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with some Raid Shadow Legends. We're going to be having a nice long talk about the game. I actually had a pretty productive day today, very productive day at work. Got off of work, got to go to the gym, got to make dinner. About 8:30, kind of was done with my day, kind of settled down. It was just really nice to have some time to do some stuff for myself. And one of the main reasons that I did have some time for myself is because I did not actually play any Raid Shadow Legends today. And I'm just going to get right into it with the video. I am quitting Raid Shadow Legends. As of this video, it's official 100%. And when I say quit, I don't mean I'm coming back in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month. I am quitting the game. I'm deleting Plarium Play, all my Raid apps off every computer I own, off my cell phone, off my tablets. It will not be installed on any of my devices any longer. If you guys have been following my videos for a while, you know that I have been actually contemplating this decision for quite some time. I've been very unhappy with the state of the game for a couple months now, and around Christmas time I'd been sort of thinking about leaving or taking a long break. I did a video about burning out on Raid about a month and a half ago, but just a lot's going on with the game and a lot of stuff that I just really don't enjoy anymore, and we're going to talk about all of that in this video. I have actually made a list. It's kind of funny, whenever I make major decisions, I do what's called like a cost-benefit analysis, and I thought it would be kind of fun to do that for Raid right now, given the state that the game is in. So what I did was I wrote down the pros of playing Raid and the cons of playing Raid right now. So we're going to talk about all that, and hopefully we'll not ramble on too long, but what I really hope is that someone at Plarium actually listens to this, because I have some complaints that I think a lot of players have that have not been listened to and really need to be fixed if this game is going to have a good future. I know Raid is doing just fine financially, but that does not mean it's a good game or that it's in a good state right now. And that said, I think 2022 is going to be a really interesting year for Raid and for Plarium, because I do see a lot of signs that this game may be getting ready to enter a state of decline. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. But first, let me talk about the pros and the things that I've enjoyed about this game. Number one is I have yet to find a game with the depth of theory crafting and the gearing with the champions. Being able to take some of the uncommon and rare champions and do some absolutely incredible things with them once you get the gear is probably one of the coolest things in this game. As someone who really enjoys deep dive, min-maxing type stuff, and being able to pull off harder content with champions no one would expect, that kind of really appeals to me and was one of the things I really did enjoy about this game, getting to do some videos on some of the heroes that people may not have used, like Grappler, like Shawnee. That type of content is really what appeals to me, what I really mainly enjoyed about Raid. The other big thing about this game that really was the saving grace for me for such a long time is that it has an incredible community around it. That's really the best thing this game has going for it. Despite Plarium being a pretty F-tier trash developer, the community that's around their game is absolutely amazing. There's some really incredible people, some very talented people, some very smart people. I'm really glad that I've met several of them. There's too many to talk about in this video, but they probably know who they are. I've mentioned them before many times in my past videos. A lot of knowledgeable people, a lot of very helpful people in this community, and that's one of the things that kept me around probably a lot longer than I would have stayed. Usually, I actually found this game right at the start of the pandemic. I think it's been almost 2 years, and I was in kind of an interesting place in my life at that point in time. Mentally, with a lot of things going on with stress and work and things, and I was really glad that I found the Raid community that I did, because it actually really helped me get through some difficult times. Just being able to talk to some people, participate in streams with some of the streamers that do a really good job with this game, and just meet some people that were really cool. It was something desperately needed at a time when social life was falling apart for myself and quite a few others, because we just couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't do anything with our normal group of friends, so the Raid community kind of became a small family for me, and it was really cool. But unfortunately, that has not been able to keep me in the game any longer. So those are like the main two things that really kept me in this game. The third, obviously, would be being able to make YouTube content. Again, my channel was kind of stagnant Because I do this as a hobby. It's not something that I do full-time. I have a great job that I really enjoy. I've never really considered ever trying to go full-time with content creation, so I've been kind of looking for a game for a while to get back into the YouTube thing, and Raid was kind of the perfect opportunity to do that. Raid's never done particularly well for me on my channel. I've got a handful of videos that have done really, really well, but most of them are 100, 200 views. And actually, the funny thing is, myself personally, I've noticed a huge drop-off with the YouTube analytics in the last 2 or 3 months with this game. People just aren't tuning in for the content anymore, unless you're doing like the shard pull videos that we've talked about at length now after my last couple of videos. But and talking to a lot of even the bigger Raid YouTubers, you know, they're noticing it too. There's definitely been a fall off with the analytics, especially for just general content, because if we're being honest, the content in this game is incredibly stagnant right now. We're going to get into that, talk about that a little bit. And that's going to be, we're just going to start getting into the cons right now of Raid Shadow Legends, the main reasons that I am quitting the game. And I've got everything written down here in front of me. Like I said, hopefully I'm not going to ramble too long on some of this stuff, but we're going to get into it. And my first thing, number one, is just Plarium. They're an incredibly greedy and lazy developer. For the amount of money they bring into this game, the revenue is absolutely insane. They just take way too long to put out any type of meaningful content that is going to keep the player base engaged. Just the development time, especially for PvE stuff, is it's just crazy. It takes us a year or 2 years to get any type of meaningful end-game content or mid-game content or anything added to faction wars. And there's zero excuse for the amount of profit, the amount of revenue, the amount of money they spend on advertising. They should have a crack development team popping out content like many of these AAA developers do, because they make AAA money quite easily. And it's really a shame that the content gets so stagnant in the game, but I think that's one of the things that's really going to start hurting Raid here. I mean, look at all the content creators. The only videos you see right now are shard pulls and let me start my 4th free-to-play series and go through a free-to-play series for the millionth time, which everyone's done and everyone's seen it, and it's just not anything impressive anymore. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I mentioned, you know, the slow development time. There's the fact that the PvE content they brought into the game has been pretty laughable and pretty bad. Shadowkin Faction Wars was a joke. I think most of us cleared it in the 2 or 3 nights that it was open. And it was just, if you had Ninja especially, it's like just run through it and you're done. And there's really not even any reason to 3-star the last level because you can't get an extra reward for it. So that was their PvE content. It took a while to come out. They brought in Hydra, which they've been doubling down on. Hydra, they keep putting out roadmaps for it. That's going to be their big 2022 PvE focus. And no one that I've talked to enjoys Hydra. And this is including high-level top end-game players. They just do it for the Stone Skin set for Platinum Arena, and that's it. I mean, no one actually enjoys doing Hydra that I've talked to in the community. It's absolutely terrible content. It's overtuned, it's RNG, it's trash. It's trash that no one likes doing. No one likes spending 4 to 5 hours to get their 3 keys in, dealing with the RNG respawns, dealing with all the crazy mechanics that the Hydra has. Absolutely no one is enjoying that content. And if that's the PvE content that they're going to go all in on for the rest of the year, I'd like to say that there's a lot of players like myself who've been with the game for a while that are going to wind up just leaving, because if that's your supposed enjoyable in-game content, that and Hard Doom Tower, yeah, it's not going to work out. It's just not something that's sustainable for the major player population, at least in my opinion. I don't think it's going to last much longer. Also, you know, the microtransactions in this game, it winds up being a giant waste of money. You get really no value for anything. As you spend more, you actually get charged more. I've never seen a business model where I have a valuable returning customer and I'm going to charge them more the more they shop here. Most places you go, the more you spend, the more your benefits, the more coupons you get, the more benefits you get for it. A lot of games nowadays that are coming out even have a VIP pass. And so the more you spend, the more VIP points you accumulate, and you get rewards back, you get discounts on packs. But not with Plarium. They just they raise your price on your packs the more you spend, which is a really weird business model. And it's worked for them so far, I guess, you know. They make a lot of money. But unfortunately, a lot of that money goes to advertising. It does not get put back into the game, which I think is one of the really big problems with the game right now, is that they're spending all this money to bring in new players who are going to play for 30 days and quit. And they're hoping they spend $500 or $1,000. And it's amazing the game's made it this long. I think the game's been out, almost 2.5, 3 years now. It's really shocking to me that it's like survived that long with the amount of players that leave after 30 days. But apparently they're getting enough out of their in-game whales and enough out of their 30 to 60 day players to make it work, because they sure as hell do not care about their long-term player base. That's been made pretty obvious by the amount of advertising they do, by the amount of promotions they do for new players. They're giving away 5 sacred shards to new players after telling the long-term player base you can't have 1 sacred shard a month because of bot accounts and whatever other bullshit they're trying to sell us. You know, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I think that was one thing that really contributed to me not wanting to play the game anymore the last couple of months, was just seeing how little they actually do value the long-term players, even the ones like myself who keep spending. You know, I still spend about $80 to $100 a month on this game. And that's mainly for clan versus clan, just buying energy so I can farm, dungeons, keep farming for gear. And we're going to talk about that here in a second too, how that's really a bad thing as well in this game, because I really feel like the big problem is your time in this game is not respected by the developer. And a big complaint we've been talking about for over a year now is that this game takes way too much time to play. And that's why I said today, it's like I had a really productive day. Got a lot more work done than I usually do, and I'm a pretty productive person at work to begin with, so that was kind of nice to actually get some extra stuff done. Got to go work out, got to eat some dinner, just kind of chill out for a little bit. And that's because normally when I get off work at around 6 o'clock, I have to jump on Raid and play Raid for 3 or 4 hours before, you know, dinner, before a shower, before getting ready for bed, and then it's probably another 2 hours after that. Got to get the dailies done. Got to run your 3 clan boss keys at 30 minutes, the clan boss key. Got to try to run your Hydra keys at, you know, however long that takes, several hours. You know, got to do all your faction wars. Got to do your 3v3 matches. It's just ridiculous. And then I think the last straw for me was a couple nights ago, I was trying to get through the Eternal Dragon on hard 120. And it's like, you know, I built up a team for it, tested them out, didn't work, did 2 or 3 runs. Had to go back in, had to re-gear, try some new champs. And I just sat there working at it until, you know, I finally got through it and beat the content. But then I looked at the clock and I realized I just spent 3.5 hours doing this. And I just spent 40 million silver re-gearing like 5 champions and rolling gear up. And where did the time go? And why on earth would I want to do this for 3.5? What am I doing? Like, it was just, the light bulb just went. I'm like, what am I doing with my time? I could have been doing so much other stuff to be productive with my life during that time. And that's the thing too. I play 2 accounts. So I've been playing a free-to-play account alongside my main account for a while, and it's just too much. That's one of the reasons I was getting burned out. But I can't do it anymore. I don't want to do it. It's like I give as much time to Plarium as I do to my main employer, and I'm not getting paid. I pay them to play their game most of the time, but it's just like I just don't feel like my time was respected. It's like after all that, and I beat the floor, I got some materials, I got an avatar and some other useless crap that isn't going to do anything for me in the actual game. And I think that's the other thing too, is like once you get to the end game, all you basically do is farm gear. That's all you do. You farm gear and you try to push arena, and you try to push 3v3. You try to get your dungeon times down as fast as possible. You know, I've got a 20-second Spider 25 team. I've got a pretty decent, like, minute-and-a-half Fire Knight team. But that was the other thing, too. The last couple of weeks, it's like I've been trying to make this push. You're constantly having to upgrade your arena defense, especially now that Gold 5's there. You're constantly having to rebuild your arena nukers and your arena champs just to make sure they're on top of the speed meta. And I've been grinding gear for months. And then I finally got a 6-star speed glyph. And I managed to get a good roll on it. And I got my Arbiter +4 speed. Got her to 352 from 348. She had been at 348 for 3 months. I have been grinding Dragon, I've been grinding Fire Knight, Perception Gear, whatever I can to try to get speed glyphs from Faction Wars. 3 months to get +4 speed. And at 352, she's still too slow most of the time in Gold 5. So It's just there's so much that you wind up having to do, and it just doesn't pay off. You spend thousands of energy. I mean, when they had the 2x Savage event for a Fire Knight, I probably spent 4,000 or 5,000 energy just farming Fire Knight like it was my job. I kept 2 pieces of gear out of all that, and they both rolled trash substats, and I sold both of them. So, what was the point? And that's kind of the thing. That's why I'm saying, like, the game just, it does not appreciate the time you put into it, because all the farming you do, it never pays off. You get the gear finally that you're looking for, you get the chest piece or the speed boots or whatever it is, and the stats just don't roll. They never roll for you. You know, there's some people, obviously, they get very lucky with substat rolls, but I'm not one of them. I don't have any quad speed rolls. You know, it takes me 3-4 months to get a couple of speed on a character. It's ridiculous how much time you have to spend on this game just to make a tiny little bit of progress. And as someone who's played MMOs my entire life, I like to have my time rewarded. I like to have my time and my progression, you know, kind of have value to myself. It's like I play Final Fantasy 14. It's one of my side games. It's like I can go on there and play for 3 or 4 hours and actually see significant progress in what I'm doing. I get a new piece of gear. I get some cool stuff for my character. I could play Raid for 3 to 4 hours. I could play Raid for 2 weeks, for a month. And I get nothing that helps my account unless I spend money. And even that is getting kind of pointless anymore because they keep adding all these champions into the champion pool. And I've talked about this with HD60 before. It's like Duchess, Kymar, Krisk, and a handful of other champions. Like, if you have those 7 or 8 champions, that's like all you need for all the content in the game. And it's getting harder and harder and harder to get those champions, because they've thrown in so many garbage champions into the champion pool, especially with the legendaries. And it's like, if I hear the words great progression legendary champion one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. And that's how everybody tries to justify, oh, we got these great progression champs in here now. And I'm like, we don't need progression champs. Legendary champions need to be good, especially most players after 6 to 9 months. You've got Syl the Drakes, you've got Visix, 2 of the best progression champions of the game that you get for free. We don't need them from pulling our shards that we spent money on. I'm just tired of it. It's like saying that the champion's good in Faction Wars. It's like the ultimate excuse everybody uses to justify why they geared up a champion. That's really bad. It's like, oh, it's good in Faction Wars. Well, so are 400 other champions. And they just keep throwing in all these garbage champions, especially with the void legendaries. If you need a void legendary now, it's like impossible. And that was another thing for me. It was like one of the last things I have to do in this game, or had to do, was think about making a platinum arena push. And I don't have any of the major legendaries that you need. I don't have Kymar, I don't have Siphi, I don't have Rotos, no Trunda, no Kandrifon, no Krisk. I could keep going. And I've been playing the game almost 2 years. And I've spent plenty on void packs, I've spent plenty on shards, and still don't have any of those champions that you kind of need to be to get into that top end of the arena now. It's pretty insane. No Hegemon either. You know, he's another one that I wanted, but and that's kind of the other thing that made the decision for me, was like, if I really want to try to compete at that level, I would have to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars. And it's just not worth it. It's like, what's the point? So you could say you're good at arena in a video game that's not really competitive to begin with. Say you spent all that money and you got some pixels that helped you finish top platinum. I mean, that's something to talk about at the water cooler at work on Monday, isn't it? Everyone's going to look at you and be like, what? You spent how much to be good at arena in a video game? Yeah, I'll just go play an actual competitive game like League of Legends or Overwatch or something instead. So I just was not willing to make that commitment financially. I've already spent enough money on this game to begin with, even though I was pretty diligent with my spending. It all feels like a waste at this point, because again, your money's not valued, your time is not valued. That's really the biggest thing I hope Plarium takes away if they watch this video, is that you figure out a way so that your players, especially your long-term players, feel like their time is valued, because it doesn't feel like we get any progression or any value out of the amount of time we sink into this game. And but yeah, the whole thing with the Arbiter taking 3 months to get 4 speed on her, and then just farming dungeons, thousands and thousands of energy and getting no gear that's even usable. You know, you get all this gear. I can run like clan versus clan this week. I decided, you know what, I'm going to finish out. I'll at least do one more clan versus clan before I leave, so my clan gets that help. I mean, I probably ran 400 Spider 25 runs and kept 3 pieces of gear. I never rolled them because I had figured out at that point I was already leaving the game, so there's no point rolling it. But that's just another thing. It's like all that gear, you get hundreds of gear drops, and it's like, oh, let me just go through. Oh, nope, sell, 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 sell. None of it's usable. It's unbelievable. That just drives me insane. You know, when you go into the time investment it takes, and just when you combine it with everything else, I think it's just really awful. And those are my main problems with the game. Main reasons I'm leaving. Number one, my time doesn't feel like it's valued, and I have to spend way too much time on the game. The purchases I make, I don't feel a value as a customer. I don't feel like I get value for my money, and then I get charged more for subsequent purchases. That's no way to treat your customers if you want to keep them long term. So that's it. And then also, obviously the developer, I just think, Plarium, you guys are taking way too long to put any kind of meaningful content into this game. And here I'm gonna finish this up now because that's basically the way I feel about things. And I really hope that this is a tough year for Plarium. I really hope that they get some competition. There's a lot of newer games that are coming out now that I definitely want to check out. I have been playing Awaken Chaos Era on the side, actually really enjoying it. That's probably another reason that led to me quitting Raid, is I actually am enjoying that game and feeling a sense of progression there. I feel like a valued customer in that game, and I haven't even really spent any money there. I spent maybe $20, and I've got 3 legendary champions within my first week of playing the game. I feel like the game gives me stuff back for when I put time into it, and I don't have to spend nearly as much time as Raid on that game. It's very casual, can play it very casually and enjoy it. I want to check out Lost Ark. I want to keep playing Final Fantasy XIV, get into that a little bit more heavily than I'm able to now, because that's the thing. I play Final Fantasy XIV with a couple of friends, and it's like I'm always behind. I don't have the level they do. I don't have the job skills. I don't have the gear, and it's because I'm playing Raid all the time. They'll be like, oh, we're going to run tonight, and I'm like, I got to do clan versus clan, or I got to do my clan boss, or run my Hydra keys, and it's just taking away so much time from everything else. But I hope this is a tough year for Plarium, and I see signs on the wall that Raid is maybe going in a bad direction. I talked about the analytics falling off earlier, the content being incredibly stagnant, but we're seeing some signs. They just did this build-a-pack feature. There's been a couple other games that have done that in the past, and that was kind of a sign they were on the way out. They were kind of shutting things down. But I just noticed such an uptick. We have 2 or 3 champion events now every single week. We have shard pull events every 3 to 4 days now. It's crazy. There's like a 10x, a 2x, a midweek 10x, 10x for clan versus clan. On top of all the other 2x's, and now we're running special 10x's alongside the 2x's, and it's like we used to go 4 or 5 weeks between a shard event, and then it became every other week, and then it's every week, and now it's 2 to 3 times a week, which tells me that they're trying to cash in as much as they can on the people that are addicted to the shard pulls and to trying to get these new champions that are coming out. And that's never usually a good sign for a game when they start just pushing that so hard, like, let's buy all these champions, let's buy all these shards, So I think that's definitely a bad sign for Raid. And I don't know. Like I said, I hope they have some tough times. They really need a kick in the pants, something to wake them up, a major competitor, someone that starts dipping into their revenue. I don't think they can sustain their ad budget much longer either. I think there was some financial stuff that came out a couple weeks ago with their parent company, Aristocrat. Basically, they were talking about how it's just not sustainable to keep their ad budget going for the amount of money they're making. They're spending so much on their marketing, and I can't imagine it's actually yielding them much revenue anymore, because most people just are not staying much longer than a month, and that's no way to sustain a game long term. Raid has definitely got some quality mechanics in it. It's a game that should last for a while, and there's a pretty good long-term population that stayed with the game, and we're just, we were wanting some content, wanting something to show that our time in the game was valued, and we just haven't seen that. So I'm leaving the game, and if you're someone who's kind of on the fence like me, I would strongly suggest you go find something else to play. Even just take a break for a couple months and see how it feels, because Getting that time back in your day is going to be something that's absolutely amazing. This game is not worth the time we have to put into it. We're not rewarded for that time. We're not valued as a customer, and they just simply do not care about us. And they are an incredibly lazy developer who can't take any of the massive amount of money they're making and put it back into their game to create an enjoyable experience for us anymore. So those are my thoughts, guys, on Raid Shadow Legends. It's going to be farewell for that game for me. I'm not sure what we're going to do on the channel. I've never really been a one game channel anyways. I kind of just do whatever I want. I do have some photography stuff I want to get back into. Maybe show some other games, get back into playing some older games like Castlevania or just whatever comes to mind, but we'll figure something out. We'll still have some fun. If you guys wind up sticking with me, I appreciate it. If not, I completely understand. Not that Raid was ever a big game for me anyways, that brought me any kind of big following, so I'm really not super concerned with that. But I did enjoy all the discussions I had in the comments with a lot of you guys, especially on some of the content we did on some different champions. Always a good time. And like I said, the community is really the best thing this game has going for it, and I'm hoping Plarium at some point will start to give back to that community that has put up with so much crap over the years with this game. So, and I hope some of the content creators start doing a bit better job being more critical of Plarium. I understand their livelihoods are kind of tied to the performance of the game, and the developer, being in good favor with the developer, but we'd like to see less shard pull videos and maybe more objective content being critical of the way Plarium handles their community and develops their game. So I'm hoping to see some of that in the future, but I seriously doubt that will happen. We'll probably be seeing some hype for the next 10x, whatever it is, pretty soon. But let me know down below in the comments what you think, guys. If you're on the fence, if you've already quit Raid, move on to another game. I know there's quite a few people that have left in the past couple of months, and I actually hope that continues. I don't think Plarium deserves to be rewarded any longer for how they treat their community that still plays the game. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys are having a great day. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time.